I've practiced jazz for 7 years. This is what I've learned. I was never the guy that had music coming easy for me. I started playing music because of a music teacher in music class that was like this cool teacher. He played guitar, like acoustic guitar. He played a lot of Oasis songs. I was looking at him and I saw like all the girls were looking at him and I was like, oh my god, I should get good at guitar. I guess that was like my primal instinct. I was always that kid that didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life. Like I was really like insecure. I didn't have like a purpose in life or anything like that. Basically, we had a music lesson. Everybody in the class were supposed to play guitar. So I remember trying to play the D chord and like the G chord and for some reason I didn't have that much trouble doing it. So I looked around in my classroom and I saw everybody like had so much trouble playing. So I got that idea of like maybe this is like something that I might be good at. So basically what happened was I started practicing like so much and the music teacher saw that. He was like, wow, Armin is really practicing. I was literally going like after school, even got keys to the music room. They gave me keys so I could practice after school. So I went there after school. I just strumming an acoustic guitar. Like it actually started becoming a music club. Like people started getting interested in music and stuff. So that was a really fun thing to be like the guy that started that movement in my like primary school, like before high school. And the funny thing is I had a librarian in my school who was a really like a blues guitar player. So he usually came like to the music room and like, oh my god, like he always like asked me like, how is it going? Oh, it's going good. And then he was like, let me teach you the pentatonic scale. I was like, what's that? That sounds weird. And then basically we just sat and he showed me the pentatonic scale. And that I remember that point forward because after he taught me the notes of an E minor pentatonic scale, I literally went home. I had like my mother and I went and bought an acoustic guitar for like $40. And then I started practicing just the pentatonic scale. And then what I did, I remember playing to a blues backing track, like literally a blues in E backing track. Like, dun, 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 dun. I just played the notes. And that was also like a wonderful thing because I could hear the notes sound good. You could hear that it sounds right. And that for me was amazing. That for me was another thing that made me want to keep going. Like the fact that it sounded right, you know? It wasn't good, but it was right. And that for me was like the thing that made me want to keep going at this, keep playing music. Having no musicians in the family made me really insecure with myself also because you don't have that like positive feedback from your family telling you like supporting you or stuff. I didn't have that much support. I'm gonna be honest. Like I had basically no support in my music journey because they weren't used to that. They didn't really know what it meant to play music, and they were like always like kind of, you could like almost feel in their voice they were like more worried about me choosing music as the career choice. Shouldn't you choose something else? And I always like felt, oh my god, why don't they understand me? Like I was always like, I made myself a victim in that, which is also not a good thing. But when you go to music school, you realize most people have musicians in the family. That's why they started playing music. So that made me like feel left out. You know, that feeling of not fitting in because everybody had like musicians in their family that supported them and all that stuff. And I felt like, wait, why don't I have that? The feeling of not fitting in is just not so fun, especially at that age when you can't like distance yourself from that emotion and realizing it's based on primal instincts. I was practicing so much and I had a lot of anxiety, a lot of mental health issues because I was like inside of myself, like, oh, I have to get better. I have to get better. You want to like fit in and this new like natural chain forms where you're trying to climb up, you're trying to become that guy that people want to play with and like all that stuff. And it's like, you know, you probably relate to that. It's like this own kind of food chain. You know what I'm saying? after 3 years of studying high school, I went on to study at a folk high school, which in Sweden we have something called folk high school. It's like pre-college. You just go there, you practice. Actually, it's a really good thing. It's like one of the best things Sweden has. But I hadn't even started with jazz yet. It was just like pop, rock, funk. So I wanted to like apply to pop, rock, funk schools. So I applied to 3 schools. I was thinking I would get into at least one because I was like, I wasn't aware of like the competition. I always felt like, but I've done good this far. That made me not so humble, and I felt like I was gonna get in anywhere. So I went there. I didn't do good on the audition at all. You know that reality check when you think you're good and like you thought you didn't get that validation that you wanted to get, because validation is so nice for us. We get so happy when you get validation. But in reality, I didn't get that back from the school. The school was like, nope. It made me heartbroken. I went home, I cried. Like I literally went home, sobbed. Like I was lying in this bed and I was sobbing. I did, and my mother was like coming in, like trying to make me feel better. And I was like, nobody. Oh, you know, I was feeling so much like a victim. That is the point. I told my mom like nobody knows my journey. Nobody supports me in this family. Everybody hates me. This and that. I didn't get into anywhere. Oh, if you just knew. The reason for why I was so sad also was because I couldn't prove to my family anymore that I was worthy of their respect, you know? Because always like when I got into a school, I could like always tell them like, yeah, I got into a school, and they were like, okay, you got into a school, that shows that you're serious. But now I couldn't really do anything about that, because I couldn't show them, since I didn't get into a school, I couldn't really show them the seriousness that I had in playing. So that made me really sad, because it felt like I didn't have a purpose in life. After 1 or 2 days of not knowing what to do with my life, I decided I wanted to become a jazz guitar player. I was like into the like possibility of, wow, that would be fun. Like that was cool. Like I was intrigued by it. I was like watching it like, wow, I would want to do that. I don't know what they're doing. I had no idea about what jazz even was. But I was like having this like view of like, wow, that's cool. That looks cool. They're like improvising. That is a cool concept. Like I just knew the pentatonic scale. After 1 or 2 days of like not knowing what to do with my life, I was like, I'm gonna do that. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna become a jazz guitar player. I'm gonna be an improviser, because that I can learn that and I can master it. I can conquer that, and I will show my family. Like I had that like mindset of like, I will show my family, I will show the people around me that I am worthy. So I'm gonna do that. So I knew a guitar teacher who played amazing bebop, and I contacted him. So I started having lessons with him every other week, and he taught me stuff that like I've never heard a teacher teach me stuff like that before. Like I felt like I was talking to an oracle that was just teaching me his deepest secrets about how to play. And like the funny thing was, he was like playing so often out like at gigs. He was gigging so often, so I could really like trust him, and like the things he was saying was like, these are real life situations, like you should learn this, instead of like you could hear the traditional things that teachers who like are working at schools, what they teach, and then you can like, when you compare that to like a gigging musicians, what they teach, it's like a whole different story. So I felt like I got the inside information of like how to actually play jazz, and I'm so grateful for that. Like that year I learned a ton of tunes, and it was because of him. He changed the belief I had about myself. Like imagine I had a lesson with him, and then like the same weekend I could go see him live, and I could see the concepts he was teaching me. I was seeing it, he using them live. That changed the belief that I had about myself, and I could see myself doing the same thing that he was doing. So my belief about myself and what I could achieve literally changed because of him. So that made me get into a better jazz school after that. And that was like, it was like one of the better one, but it wasn't the best. But after that year, so I went there for 1 year. And then after that, I got admitted to one of the best jazz schools in Sweden. And after that year, I got into the Royal College of Music. 2 intense years of me going in with all the information that I got from my teacher, and I could like use that as a framework to like, now let's use this, let's get really good in these schools where you just practice, you play with people, you all do all that stuff. And that made me get into the Royal College of Music, where I'm now going my third year and I'm ending soon. So getting into the Royal College of Music in Stockholm was like the ultimate goal for me, and I reached it. And that was because of the belief I had about myself, about that I could actually achieve it. Like the belief that I had about myself that I could achieve it, that was literally the thing that made me achieve the goal of getting into the best school in Sweden. Like I didn't have anyone telling me like, yeah, you can achieve this, you can achieve this. I was literally just telling it to myself. And that's literally the only thing you need. So what did I actually learn after 7 years of practicing jazz? Get a mentor. Now. The reason for why you should get a mentor is you will never know if the things you do actually makes you better at music until someone that's great tell you it actually is. A mentor has done the stuff that you want to achieve, and then the mentor tells you what you should do to get to level up. And you literally just put your faith into that mentor, and then you're good. That's why a mentor is like the best thing you can ask for. It's like the best investment I did in my life. I'm so grateful for that. I know that I wouldn't be sitting here if it wasn't for a mentor that I had for 1 year. Your belief is the core thing in this. Your belief about yourself and what you can achieve is the most fundamental thing that I've learned. That will like literally, if you start learning about this, it will change your life. If you have a desire to become a certain type of musician, and you back that desire up with faith, you will become that musician. It's just how it works. It's the law of nature. The belief about yourself is the fundamental thing that will get you to your goals. I promise you that. Another thing I learned is if you care about what other people think, you will become miserable. The reason you play music is because you have this connection to this unexplainable force. And then now if you would play stuff that's considered hip or play stuff that's in, you play stuff to make other people validate you, to make other people like you, then that will make you miserable. I became miserable. I hated music. The first year of college, I hated music. I hated music so much because I cared about what other people thought of me. So what happened was I started getting addicted to certain stuff. I started getting addicted to smoking weed. I started getting addicted to alcohol. I started getting addicted to junk food because I had to fill that void of mental health issues that formed because I started caring about what other people thought of me. I let other people interfere with that unexplainable force that I had, my relationship to music. I let other people come in between that, and now my mental health sucked, and I couldn't practice because I didn't feel like I always had this pressure of playing stuff that I didn't want to practice, and I went down bad. Like I went downhill and started feeling real bad after that. Smoking weed every night. I was just watching brainless content, eating a lot of junk food, sleeping until 2 p.m., skipping classes. I lost the purpose that I had in my life, literally. So how did I get out of this? Well, it started with me being completely honest with myself, followed by ending the habits that gave me anxiety. And after that, I started one habit, which was training my body, going to the gym. For the first time in my life, I just delayed the gratification. Like instead of getting instant happiness, instant dopamine, I was like doing a hard thing that made my day better. And that was like, that loop gave me like this positive thing that was like, wow, my life instantly got better from just starting this new habit. So after I realized that, my life just got so much better, and that naturally made me want to seek out different things that made me feel better. So I naturally started meditating. I naturally started journaling about my thoughts. I naturally started like picking up the guitar more often. I started like playing stuff that I wanted to play. And all of a sudden, since I got more self-respect, I started respecting myself in like what type of music I wanted to play. I didn't really care about what other people thought of me anymore. And that made me free. And suddenly I just became so much more joyful when I played music. Suddenly I didn't feel like practicing was a chore anymore. I was grateful for playing music. And my life was never the same after that. Right now, I love life and I love teaching what I've learned to people who relate to me. It all starts with you being honest with yourself. And from there, start living your true, authentic self. If you want to be a part of my private community, that will be really fun because we have daily Zoom calls. We have private lessons. We have a community of people who like discuss these kind of stuff. We get better at guitar together. We get better at mental health. We get better at so many things. So if that sounds fun for you, just go in the description below and join us. I hope this video gave any value to you. Other than that, I hope I'll see you in the next video. Take care of yourself. Bye bye.